Thank you for joining us on this episode of Kyber Clips. I'm Mike Jafrida, President of Kyber Security, joined by Bob Thomas, VCIO, VCISO for Kyber and our clients. Hello, Bob.
Hello there, Mike.
Today we're going to talk about something which has been around for a long time, but starting the better part of 2.5, 3 years ago, it really became a trend. The remote working is
Staple.
the new not working remotely. I mean, everybody started to do it, right?
Absolutely.
For a valid reason, businesses needed to keep operating. However, a lot of those organizations dispersed their workforce very quickly. And what we're seeing is that many times all of the smart things they did around cybersecurity in their centralized office locations
Right out the window.
Didn't follow the bouncing ball to the remote locations. So just wanted to talk about this a little bit. Give me your basics on 1, 2, and 3 of the must-dos for remote working if you want to stay safe.
Well, in a generic sense, you should have the same protections on the machine that you're using at home as you do in the office. If you've got a certain level of antivirus, it should be that. Maybe it's the same product, maybe it's a different product. Obviously you'd have to hash that out with your managed provider if they're going to provide licensing for multiple machines, but I think that's important. You need to have some level of quality. A lot of people use not just internet and connection at home. You've got Wi-Fi. You may use Wi-Fi in the office as a convenience, but that's probably not exactly how you are connected. At home, I would say 90% of the people are connecting via Wi-Fi. Do you have good passwords? Are you using a separate network ID for your business work compared to everybody else that's in your household, so that you try to keep traffic separate?
You don't want my daughter's TikTok on our corporate drive?
No, don't want it, don't need it, not interested. We have a client that's around the corner from us. They provide a firewall for every single one of their remote users that they put in at their house, and it directly connects them securely to the system. And the only thing they can do with that connection is get into the system. And once they're in, then they can browse the internet. They can get access to network drives and data and applications. They can't go straight out via that firewall to the internet. It's not allowed because they don't want traffic that may be bad backfeeding into the system at the office. So they're trying to keep things separate.
Let's talk about that firewall for a second, because there's a lot of information out there today where the large cable companies, etc., are like, we're giving you cybersecurity, and they make you believe that what they're providing to you is a firewall. And I guess it is at some level, right? It has some firewalling type capability, but that's not what you're talking about here, right? You're talking about a separate appliance that is going to be able to provide specific protections based upon what the company's policies for protections are.
And creating a secure tunnel directly into the systems that you need access to. That's really the key.
This is your VPN.
This is your VPN. It's up all the time as long as your firewall is on and connected to whatever system. Maybe it's your office, maybe it's multiple offices, and you've got links out to several of them because that's what you need access to. Yeah, I understand what the cable and the DSL providers and even the fiber providers are talking about.
DSL?
Yeah.
What is it, 1992?
I actually had a conversation with somebody yesterday. They're like, can we get DSL as a backup? Can you even get DSL, period?
Yes,
and I think the answer was no. And but at the end of the day, we want to make sure that the information is secure, and a router, which is essentially what your cable or DSL or fiber provider is giving you, is not a firewall. It's this much protection instead of this much protection. That's really what it is. It's not looking at every packet, trying to figure out where it's coming from. Is it really coming from a safe place? That's coming from North Korea. We don't allow that type of stuff. That's the firewall decision saying, I don't allow traffic from there. The router's like, I don't really know where that's from. Maybe I'll take it, maybe I won't.
So you talked a little bit about wireless and different network IDs to be able to segregate information. Is that again, now we're talking, do we also need I'm going to call it business class wireless solution, because you can't use the one that's hanging off of the router anymore that's outside the firewall that you just talked about.
Yeah.
Right, so what do we do there, and what does that segregation really mean as far as, how should I set that up for what's happening for my work stuff, other stuff? What if I'm wired?
Yeah, so
that's a big question.
Yeah, it is kind of a big question, because there's a lot of pieces that, if we're just looking at Wi-Fi, it's probably not too difficult a question. We can say, yes, we'll create a secure or office security ID. We'll create a family ID, and we'll maybe create a guest, because your kids have people over and they can give them that ID and they can do whatever they want on the internet and nothing else. They won't see the printer. They won't see other traffic going on. If it's configured correctly, I think you can get pretty good protection if you have them all separated, separate IP address schemes for each one. Really good passwords or passphrases to be able to get in these. No sharing of the password when it comes to the secure ID for the office. You get to wired, it definitely takes it up a notch on difficulty, but because now, okay, well, we've got wired connections, but they all go into the switch. How do they know which is which? Well, now you've got to start creating networks, virtual networks, VLANs, to say, okay, I'm plugged into port 1 and nobody else can see anything that's on port 1, and I can see the wireless, I can see the printer and internet. That's it. I can't see anything else, and nobody can see me. So there's complication that goes along with that, and maybe you have a phone at home. Maybe there's an IP, VoIP phone. That's got to be on another network so that nobody can crack into that. So it does add complication. I don't want to say it's simple and snap your fingers and it's
frankly,
done, but
what we're talking about is this is another office location for your business, and it needs to be treated as such.
Yeah, and I think that's been the problem, is that people were so quick to run home, get set up, and say, okay, I can work. Well, you can work, but are you secure? And I think that's really the difference. Do you have that same protection that you have in the office in place? Do you have your password manager working there? Or are you saving passwords in your browser because it's your home machine and it allows it? Uh-oh, somebody cracks in the machine. Yeah, you share the machine with the family. Not another no-no. They can get into your passwords and all your URLs. Oh, wow, that's how you get into the Amazon account? I can order whatever I want now. So, you can have a field day just in password capture right out of your browser.
Yeah. I think the, treating, well, it sounds like a lot. It doesn't have to be a massive undertaking. You really have to look at any place someone's working as another office, and you want to have the same security there that you've got in your regular, traditional boundary.
And I think the one thing we saw from the start of COVID that really changed was a lot of people used to buy desktops, and they came to us and they said, should we keep doing that? And we're like, well, if you're talking about providing machines for people that are working remotely, the desktop thing should go out the window. You should get a laptop. That machine should travel back and forth. If they're hybrid working in the office, that's their machine in the office. They take it home. It has all the tools on it from the office. All the protections are there. It is a simpler management strategy.
It's a great piece of advice. All right, well, for all those who are hybrid working from home, seeing this, don't panic. It's not a major undertaking, but you do need to be thinking about security when you're anywhere else. Just like we always told you, not to use the Starbucks Wi-Fi and log into your bank account, right? So, Bob, thanks for the great information, and thank you all for joining this episode of Kyber Clips.
Hello, folks. Thanks very much for joining us for another episode of Kyber Clips. We appreciate you joining us and learning a little bit about cybersecurity and what we do here at Kyber. Just if you're interested in subscribing, hit the button down below, smash the like button, and reach out to us at sales@kybersecure.com. Thanks again.